sermon time, I'm going to ask you to talk back to me, so don't be alarmed and let your inhibitions go. Just like we saw the children here letting their inhibitions, let your inhibitions go, okay? We don't think in terms of unclean spirits very often today. We're too educated, too civilized, too rational for such things, right? But you open the Gospel of Mark, and there it is. Early on in the first chapter, right away in the first chapter, this encounter with an unclean spirit. We have to sort out what we do with this. So I'd like to ask you to close your eyes and pay attention to the image that's in your mind when I say, Jesus is teaching in the synagogue, and suddenly a man with an unclean spirit is there. What does that man with the unclean spirit look like in your mind? What does it look like? You can talk now. Dígame. Yeah. Talk. What's it look like? This man with the unclean spirit. Like GQ? Does he look?
I saw that with old History Channel not this ago, and he looked like a ragamuffin.
Ragamuffin. Okay. So ragamuffin. Okay. Any other images? What else do you see? What's he look like? Yeah? Angry. Okay. Angry. Wild eyes. What else does he look? What's he look like? Uncombed hair. Uncombed hair. Okay. Anything else? Any other images? What else? Okay. This man is going to speak. He's going to say these words. What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. What does he sound like? What's he sound like? Who does he sound like? Does he sound like Bill? No? What? Dick Cheney. All right, we've taken that leap. Here we go. Okay. Hey, we have one image. All right? Other images are welcome. Other sounds? Other sounds? Challenging. Okay. Challenging voice. Angry. Okay. Angry. All right. Anything else? Crazy. Questioning. Okay. Questioning. One more questioning from you. So when you hear unclean spirit, what does unclean mean? What do you think of? What associations come to mind? Like, what? Judgmental. Unclean. Judgmental. Irrational. Unclean. What? First association. You're on the couch of the psychologist. So unclean. What? Non-believer. Secretive. What? Hate. Clean hate. Lost. Okay. Any others? Angry. Okay. As I was spending time with this story at the beginning of the week, I was thinking, well, who do I see? So I saw like this image with the eyeballs like rolled back and spinning in the sockets or whatever, and this voice, like Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Right? Have you come to destroy this distorted sort of just Hollywood stuff? These images in my head. And unclean, I was reading evil. Evil, we kind of circled around that. And that makes a very nice and neat little story, okay? Good versus evil. Evil comes in, encounters good, and Jesus doesn't like the evil, casts out the evil. People cheer, hooray! And then we go on and we know exactly what's coming up in the story. But what if unclean gets unhitched from evil or sinfulness? I was reminded by a guy named Richard Swanson, as I've been reading his book, starting out with Mark, that in ancient Israel, there were many things that rendered you ritually unclean or left you ritually unclean. And for many of them, they kind of seem to be in this category of having to do with the mysterious, with the holy, with the powerful, with something that's wild and untamed even dangerous. Okay, so for instance, childbirth leaves you ritually unclean. And anything having to do with childbirth leaves you ritually unclean. So menstruating, sex, it leaves you ritually unclean. Now, is that because it's icky or because it's sinful? No. Okay, I just said that sex isn't sinful. Building is staying up. Okay, here we go. No, it's because in that ordinary life encounters, we encounter the power of life. Something mysterious, something holy, something that we do not control. It's untamed, wild. It leaves us unclean. Same is true if you bury the dead in ancient Israel. If you bury the dead, which is something everybody does, if their loved one dies, you bury them. You're ritually unclean. Okay? Is it icky? No. Is it sinful? No. It's reverent. It's respectful. But it's encountering life and death, mysterious, dangerous, holiness, something that we certainly don't control, right? For observant Jews, the Torah, the sacred scrolls, if you touch them with your bare hands, which you don't, but if you touch them, you'd be left unclean. Well, they're not evil. They're not sinful. They are holy. They are powerful and mysterious. They won't be tamed. Left unclean. So now, with that reminder, does this sound different? Jesus is teaching in the synagogue. Suddenly a man with an unclean spirit enters. Does it shift the meaning, perhaps, a little bit? Did for me. I was reading that, oh, well, that's interesting. I don't know what to do with that, but that's interesting. And as I thought about it through the week, I realized that for me, it shifts that meaning of unclean from evil to wild. That seems a better substitute for that word, wild. So that includes evil. So you can still, evil can be wild, right? We just had the 65th anniversary of D-Day. The ideology of Nazi Germany is wild, difficult to control, dangerous. But wildness isn't necessarily evil. Wildness can be beautiful. Love can be wild, right? Or is wild. So it's just it's a broadening of the category there. So now as I think about this encounter and I think about who this man with the unclean spirit is, the Hollywood images, they go. I don't know what he looks like now, but that doesn't fit. And the voice I hear is different. It's almost laughing, kind of this mocking voice I hear. And I imagine the encounter meaning something like this. What do you have to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? You haven't come to destroy us. You can't destroy us. Because to destroy us will be to destroy part of you. You won't destroy love. You won't destroy holiness. You won't destroy wildness. I know who you are. I know who you are. I recognize it anywhere. You're the Holy One of God. I know you because I see some of myself in you. You're like us. Part of you is like us. And you need to know that. And everyone around you needs to know that. And you're going to be turning the world upside down and people aren't going to see it coming. You're going to be saying all sorts of crazy things. You won't fit into their box. You won't meet the expectations. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see it. Something more like that. And then we wonder, well, why does Mark do that? Why does the writer do that? Because the writer, this unclean spirit is the one who identifies who Jesus is. Tells us this is the Messiah, the Holy One. And it's right away at the beginning. Must be really important. And it's echoing what we hear at the baptism. We just had baptism. Jesus comes out. God says, this is my Son, the beloved. Jesus goes into the wilderness. He calls the disciples. And then we have this encounter with the unclean spirit.